In this episode, we're discussing sleep. I'm sure we can all appreciate the benefits of a good night's sleep on our mental, physical and emotional health, but recent research has reinforced that sleeping more can also help you lose weight.
We'll dive into the research and share other interesting facts about sleep, as well as give you 10 tips for a better night's slumber.
Hi, I'm James Davis.
And I'm Claire Davis.
We're the Midlife Mentors, here to lift the lid on how to achieve health and happiness.
The balanced, no-nonsense way.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Midlife Mentors with me, James.
And me, Claire. How are you all?
I hope you're all well. What have we been up to, Claire?
Oh, we've had my parents come and stay over
That's
in
been
Marbella.
very nice.
That was
We've
lovely.
been out and about more than usual.
Well, we've been out and about loads more than normal. We're quite hermity, not a word, just another Claireism that's been made up there. But hermity normally, but we've been out and about in Marbella showing mum and dad around and giving them a bit of sunshine.
It's been lovely, actually, hasn't it?
It has been lovely. Then we've got another retreat. If you're listening to this in real time, We've got another retreat coming up in Marbs on the 17th until the 20th. So really excited about that. And the weather's looking delicious.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. Training on the beach, in the sunshine, at the stunning Punto Romano. I mean, they've done some great work over there over this whole lockdown period. They've got all new areas, funky new bits.
Yeah, they've got funky new bits.
Food.
They've got funky new bits.
And most excitingly for us, amazing new gym.
I know. Actually, the crazy thing is, they told us they had their busiest period last year. No, the most financially successful period last year than ever. How crazy is that? How nuts? It just goes to show that the wealthy were still travelling around a lot
and the
in
appetite to travel is there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I just wanted to mention, talking about that,
I thought it links nicely too.
It does. Well done, drum roll. You might have heard on the last podcast, but if you didn't, we are launching a retreat expert course. We're really excited about this. James put this together just over 3 years ago, and we were really excited to launch it, and then the pandemic hit, and we didn't think it was a good time to go out helping businesses run retreats in far-flung places. So we've held off, and it's only now, in the last couple of months, that we've really, really felt a demand and an excitement to share our knowledge of running award-winning retreats. So if you can hear furniture moving around next door, it's just our very noisy Spanish neighbours that have just decided to start shifting furniture around. But keeping it real. So yeah, we're really excited about that, and we're going to kickstart it with a completely free 5-day retreat expert mini course. So if you are a visionary business owner, a coach, a mentor, or in the wellbeing profession, and you've been wanting to run a retreat but haven't really know where to start, you've lacked confidence or worried about making some risky mistakes and some financial mistakes, then we're here to change all of that and support you over those 5 days. We're going to give you the secrets that's helped 38 Degrees North scale to a 6-figure business and
still be here over a decade later.
And still be here. Given what happened in the world, we are still going strong, and we're really excited to be running retreats again, because people are crying out for this connection, right? And also people's priorities have really shifted. It's a lot more around wellness. So we want to help people kind of get in on this demand for retreats as quickly as possible and become, retreat leaders by the end of 2022, so that you can experience more freedom, more flexibility and more income. So yeah, if you know of anyone that might be interested in that free mini course, I'll put the link in the show notes. But yeah, if you think anyone would be amazing at running retreats and they're hiding their light at the moment, tell them not to anymore, because the world is opening up and we're here to support you.
So excited for that. So today we are going to be talking all about sleep. And we were thinking about this anyway, right? 'Cause it is such a big thing for midlifers as well, especially for, ladies going through the menopause and with the night sweats and stuff. But, midlifers, men or women, things like stress, life is getting on top. Sleep can be a real issue. And we all know that lack of sleep can be debilitating. And we're going to dive in today, like some of the mental, emotional, and maybe even surprising physical sides to it. But this was spurred by, there was a new study released this week from the University of Chicago, and they found that simply sleeping for longer each night could help you lose weight. There was no other intervention. They didn't attempt to control food or move. It's just like simply sleeping more helped participants lose weight. So we thought that's a good jumping off point.
Yeah.
For the lazy amongst you who would like to lose weight by doing nothing, you can just simply sleep for longer.
Listen, I again, if you're a regular listener to our podcast, you would have heard that I really struggle with my sleep in London before we moved to Marbella. I think just being in London as well, it's busier, the energy's slightly different. And also our mattress wasn't brilliant either, so we're going to invest in a new mattress. But I didn't sleep well for about 10 weeks. I mean, it was really bad. And, people were like, are you stressed? I was like, no, more than normal. I think some of it was around caffeine. So we're going to talk about lots of these things. Some of it was around probably drinking too much caffeine. I was drinking more alcohol at that point. I think I had some perimenopausal symptoms. But there is a reason that sleep deprivation is used as a form of torture, because I was a grumpy little madam. I mean, the lack of sleep, and it affected everything. It affected my mood, my concentration. It affected my ability to do my workouts properly. There were times when I was just, I'd go out and then come back to bed and be in bed at 10 in the morning. I'd get up, do my workout, and I was just absolutely exhausted, all because of my lack of sleep. And it was really debilitating. So it's such an important part to get right.
Does it count as a form of torture if you're asleep in bed and your partner keeps nudging you going, are you asleep? I can't sleep. Are you asleep?
I don't do that to you.
Not so much anymore.
So anyway, one headline stat for those that were over 45. Listen to this. This is crazy. One headline stat for you. James is a stat guy, but I'm going to give one here. For those of over 45, there's a 200% increased risk of heart attack or stroke if you sleep under 5 hours a night compared to those that have slept for 7 or 8 hours. And, research has shown a strong correlation between less sleep and a shorter lifespan. And obviously this new study is showing that sleeping longer can now help you lose weight. Woo. So we can't wait. But obviously, as always, we're going to give you tips. I think we've got 10 tips at the end.
We have
10 tips at the end of this. So stay tuned. James is going to talk you through a little bit more of the hormonal stuff that's going on and some more research.
Yeah, I guess the results of this study aren't such a surprise, actually, because we do know already from a lot of other research the physical and hormonal effects sleep can have. Before we get into that, just looking at the kind of effects on our mood and cognitive function, lack of sleep is really strongly correlated with low mood, anxiety, depression on the emotional side. On the cognition side, we see massive drop-off in cognitive performance. Our working memory goes. Research for things like truck drivers in America showing that, lack of sleep impairs them in the same way as drink or drugs. They've got slower response times, they make poorer decisions, and this is mirrored all the way through the research. They found that even as little as 16 minutes sleep can cause an impact and impair cognition the next day. And there was a fascinating study with college students. So they're looking, college students like to enjoy themselves and regularly probably don't get as much sleep as they need. Interestingly, young people do need more sleep than adults because their brains are still developing.
Yes, listen to our podcast last week about the teenage brain.
But they found that even slight regular sleep deprivation would have the same impact on the students' grades as binge drinking or heavy marijuana use, which is saying quite something, really. So that's kind of on the cognition emotion side, and we all know that. We've all been there, right? If you're used to getting a good night's sleep and you suddenly have a terrible night's sleep,
hang on,
the next day.
Oh, hang on, do we, James? Do we? If you're used to being a good sleeper and then you have a bad night's sleep.
I'm empathising because I hear your moans and whinging on the next day.
Listen, everyone out there, I absolutely cannot begin to tell you that if James has one terrible night's sleep, everyone knows about it.
I'm very sensitive about my sleep,
Claire. For days, he knows. And also I just want to say about the watches that we had. Now, this was really interesting. We had, what were the watches called?
Whoop straps.
Whoop strap. So we had a whoop strap a couple of years ago now, and they're really amazing. So don't get me wrong, they're really great. But actually, they can make you very obsessive, especially about your sleep. So actually, it can kind of stop you getting out of your natural circadian rhythm, I think, because you're kind of thinking, oh, am I going to get enough sleep? And then you wake up the next morning, you've seen you haven't had enough sleep, and then that in itself is going to make you feel like you haven't had enough sleep. Do you know what I mean? So you're not going with how you naturally feel. You're getting a piece of technology to tell you how well you've slept, and that in turn psychologically can make you think that you experience in all these other issues around not having enough sleep. But James was particularly obsessive about his sleep. He'd wake up.
Fascinating.
He would honestly wake up and jump out of bed to see whether he'd had enough sleep or not, and it was fast. I was like, right, I need to take that off, James. No,
I did take it off.
Let's
It's
take
only
the
whether
whoop
you've had
strap
light sleep
off.
or restorative sleep or not, and it did become psychosomatic.
It
So it
does.
says you haven't had restorative sleep, you're like, oh, I don't feel as good today.
Yeah.
So we can all appreciate, and we've all experienced, what lack of sleep can do in terms of our mood and how we feel next day into condition. But here's some of the surprising ways it can affect your physiology as well. So research has already shown there's a 50% increased risk of obesity if you're regularly sleeping less than 5 hours a night. And there's other research around shift workers that show that their patterns mean that they're more at risk of obesity as well.
Well, I've seen that. My dad was a shift worker. I'm not saying that my dad's obese, but I saw it's really, really difficult, of course, to manage when you're doing shift work. So anyone out there, hats off to you. It's really hard to manage all of that because you're eating, and I've actually had clients that work in the NHS. We've really had to work out how you eat and when you eat at certain times that aren't normal for most people. And obviously I was with, I used to be married to a police officer as well. So I saw the impact that had on he managed it really well, but it was really interesting, how he had to change his food timings around. It's a big deal because it's not naturally how you're supposed to be living your life and eating. So yeah, I'm not surprised that so many shift workers in the NHS as well. There's obviously lots of stats around the NHS and how many shift workers really struggle with being overweight.
Yeah, definitely. The other surprising thing it does, it actually impacts your hormone levels as well, which of course is going to contribute to obesity. So specifically, lack of sleep will decrease your levels of your hormone leptin, which is your I'm full hormone. It will increase levels of ghrelin, which is telling you to eat more, and you become more insulin resistant, meaning you're less efficient at processing the food you're intaking for energy, meaning you're more likely to lay it down as fat. Of course, we've got to throw in the mental emotional as well. If you are stressed from lack of sleep, that's also going to spike your stress hormone cortisol up. So that could be quite a cocktail you've got going on there. I think if you're missing these chunks of sleep, not only are you feeling terrible and your mood is low, but you've got these hunger hormones basically telling you to eat more. You're not getting the I'm full signal. Your energy's not being converted as efficiently, and you've got stress in the mix as well.
It's a bit of a bitch, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is why sleep's important. This specific study we started the podcast with basically found they got overweight adults that regularly slept 6 hours or less a night, and basically coached them to sleep for an extra 1.2 hours. And what they found was that when they managed to get them to that thing, just an extra 1.2 hours sleep a night, they would eat, on average, 270 less calories per day. Some of them 500 calories less. So just having that more sleep made them eat more. And I guess that makes sense if we wind it back to, if their ghrelin levels came down so they weren't as hungry and their leptin came up so they got full sooner, that would make sense.
Well, I really struggled. I really, really struggled. I was constantly hungry. Can you not remember? I was really hungry. Obviously, I was putting my body under more stress because I was still trying to do all my workouts in the same way, but with, 5 hours sleep a night. And I just obviously wasn't getting anywhere. I wasn't even getting any results because I was putting my body under too much stress. And that's when I was like, right, I've got to start really looking at how to do things differently here. And we're going to give you some of those tips in a minute. But I really pulled back my workouts because I realised I was just really overloading my central nervous system. Well,
of course it is. It's just another form of stress response.
Exactly.
So there's kind of the physiological, cognitive, emotional effects on us if we're not getting enough sleep. But the question is, why? What's actually going on when we are sleeping? Well, sleep science is still a bit of a mystery. We know far much more than we did do. We're not sleep experts, we'll attempt to distill this down though. Basically, we cycle through 4 different stages of sleep. The one that everyone's probably familiar with, what we call REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep.
Oh, it was one of my favourite. I liked that band. I liked REM.
I knew you'd slip that in there.
My brother and I used to love REM. Martin, if you're listening, I can always remember having to go out with mum and dad, and when the song came on, we'd get up and dance around.
So what song was that? Shiny Happy People?
Shiny Happy
Losing
People.
My Religion.
Losing My Religion, all of these
That's
things.
me in the corner.
I loved REM.
So REM is like the deepest form of sleep. We'll come to that in a minute. So what happens is typically we'll go to bed. We go through non-rapid eye movement, NREM1, which is basically just lasts a few minutes. That's when we're dropping off. Then we'll go to NREM2. Can last between 10 and 60 minutes. Our breathing will get deeper. You know, our eyelids will be firmly shut. REM3, 20 to 40 minutes. That's a really deep slumber. But then we'll move into this REM. What's fascinating is we undergo a form of like muscular paralysis, actually. The only muscles that really stay active are our breathing muscles and our eyes. And we see this thing like people in deep sleep, their eyelids fluttering. And what we know is this correlates with very high levels of brain activity. So when we're these non-REM, our brain activity is dropping off. And we go into REM, it spikes up again. It's at levels similar to when we're awake. And the thought is, this is the time, this type of sleep, the REM sleep, is when our brains are processing all the events of the day, making sense of them, cataloging it, and repairing and rebuilding and repairing the neural networks.
I'm in a real little pesky mood today, aren't I? Can you tell doing this podcast? Can you tell I'm pesky? Is this the point? Is the one... NREM is basically when you're punching me, when you're twitching and your body's starting to relax. Is that when...
No,
does anyone else have that?
That's probably NREM too.
Does anyone else have that? When
the
you
twitch.
Know, the twitch.
Yeah.
I've never ever been with anyone that twitches quite as much as this one next to me. I've been punched. I really have.
Oh. But then we'll cycle through that. So we'll go down those REM 1, 2, 3, REM, and then kind of come up and cycle through them again through the night for our hopefully 8-hour cycle. And we should all be aiming as adults for 7 to 9 hours a night to optimise our health.
Now, can I talk about siestas?
We can. Just before we get on siestas, though, it's really important to say it's thought it's that REM sleep that we need to actually repair the brains. It's thought that lack of REM sleep is the one that will have the biggest impact on your performance, mood, all the rest of it the next day.
So yeah, I mean, siestas, obviously we live over in Spain half of the year, and the Spanish do love their siestas. The shops all still shut down and everyone goes off. Some people don't really sleep anymore. They go off and drink their cañas, their beers. But I would recommend a little siesta. James doesn't find it as easy to have siesta. So if you're not getting enough sleep and you're really tired and you can fit a siesta into your day, we would recommend it, because actually the benefits, there's a lot of research around as well that says the benefit of a short little break in the middle of the day where you just get a little sleep. You know, anything around up to 30 minutes, anything over that, and you're going to wake up feeling groggy because you're going into that deeper sleep. You want to avoid, obviously, definitely going into REM so that you wake up still feeling refreshed. So I've seen this myself. If I've slept for like 45 minutes, I do feel groggier. But at that 20 to 30 minute window, if I can get a little cat nap in, that little siesta in, I do feel better in the afternoon for it. I know that might not fit in with a lot of people's day. It probably would have done when we were more locked down, when people were working from home. You could go off and have a quick nap and a siesta. But
I'd love that. If you're listening,
if you're in
how
the
many
office,
of you had a nap during lockdown when you were working from home?
I'd love to know.
We won't tell anyone.
But I've always been quite that. It's obviously my Spanish blood. I've always been able to have that little siesta. So I'm thankful for that, because even though I wasn't sleeping very well, I was able to have a little cat nap in the day, wasn't I? What?
Little siesta, 2 hours.
It wasn't 2 hours. He's so mean. He's so mean. Yeah, but be careful, because like we said, anything over 30 minutes, you are going to go into that deep sleep and you're going to wake up feeling groggier and worse than you did to begin with.
Yeah, I'll say the first thing I want to address here is make sure you are regularly getting enough at night. If you're failing for whatever reason, then grabbing a quick 30-minute nap in a day is ideal. Right. So we covered there the science of sleep, what it is, why you want it. Let's go that again. You know, if you're not getting enough sleep, you're likely to put on weight, you're likely to have low mood, anxiety, make poor decisions. So
be grumpy.
Let's give you 10 tips for a good night's sleep.
Right, number 1 is don't eat too close to bedtime nights. So as we digest food, our body temperature rises.
Oh, have you not had enough sleep?
That podcast I did when I hadn't had very much sleep, and I was I couldn't get any words out. So as we digest food, our body temperature actually rises, affecting our ability to fall asleep. So do try to eat your meal at least 2.5 hours before bed, and make sure it's not too heavy. You know, like massive bowls of pasta and potatoes and meat, you know, red meat, all that sort of stuff. Try and lay off that. Have a really a light dinner. and try and have it 2.5 hours before bedtime. All those sugary foods as well, they're going to spike your insulin just before bed. And also sugar which is also carbohydrates, sugar can increase the heart rate as your body releases adrenaline. So again, there's a whole host of things there that are just telling you to make sure that you have a lighter dinner, making sure it's not too carb heavy. You're not like chomping down on too much fruit. Again, that's sugar. Too much fruit before you go to bed, too many sweets before you go to bed, all of that sort of stuff. Have that 2.5 hour window, so making sure your body temperature is an even temperature, so that you're able to fall asleep. Because if your temperature is too high, it really, really affects how quickly you're able to fall off to sleep.
Tip 2, don't have your phone on or even in the bedroom at night. So you want to avoid looking at your phone for at least an hour longer, preferably before bed, because the blue light it gives out suppresses our body's release of melatonin, which is a hormone that makes us feel drowsy, helps us fall asleep. So if we're looking at those blue lights, we're basically suppressing that melatonin and like stimulating ourselves to stay awake. On the other side of that as well, there's a lot of evidence that electromagnetic signals given out by phones can disrupt brain activity. So you really want to have it switched off or leave it outside the bedroom so it's not interfering with your brain activity while you're sleeping.
Number 3 is move your body, but try not to do it too late in the day. And I know this, again, from experience when I was PTing left, right and centre. I was up at 6 a.m. training people. I was training people till really late at night. So the only time I had time to train myself was really late at night in between clients. And I was just wired when I went to bed. Here's the thing though, moving your body has been proven, exercise has been proven to help with sleep. In fact, research has shown that moderate to vigorous exercise, where you get breathless, reduces the amount of time it actually takes for you to fall off to sleep and decreases the amount of time spent awake during the night. It also reduces stress, we know that, and lifts our mood, which is helpful if you're normally a bedtime worrier. Again, me, sometimes my mind will start racing, and, I know that moving my body and exercise has reduced that and lifts my mood. Just don't exercise, as I said, too close to bedtime, or you'll stimulate that central nervous system, getting all those endorphins rushes, all those feel-good hormones that can keep you awake rather than relax you.
So next tip, you can try valerian root to help you sleep.
Tried this before.
It's where a lot of people go wrong. They go things like, a hot cup of cocoa. Well, cocoa's very highly stimulating.
Sugar.
People put sugar with it. Again, sugar
raising the body temperature.
Your malted milk drinks, the massive glass of red wine. All these things are actually going to disrupt your sleep. Now, valerian root is obviously natural, and many swear by it for promoting good quality sleep. And unlike sleeping pills, it won't make you feel drowsy the next day.
Give them a go. I tried them. They did help me. Go to bed at a regular time every evening. So your body loves, this is a really important one, your body loves routine. So try to go to bed at the same time every evening, and also try to wake at the same time every morning, so you're in tune with your natural circadian rhythm. Research suggests that this means we spend less time tossing and turning at night and have a better quality of sleep. So move in line with your circadian rhythm. Find out what that is, and don't keep going to go to bed at midnight at one night, 10 at another. Just try and keep it pretty regular, and when you wake up in the morning too.
Don't check your emails or look at the news before bed. Again, this thing like don't look at your phone at least an hour. The other reason, apart from the blue light, is you don't want to stimulate your central nervous system by looking at those emails, by looking at the news. Prepare your body and mind for a rest. Looking at that stuff could only raise your stress levels. You might not think it does any harm, but you do. You've just been conditioned to think it's normal. It's actually not. Your body is still going to respond to the, in inverted commas, threats or dangers by prepping your body for fight or flight. Increased heart rate, poor digestion, tense muscles. So just put the news and the phone and the screens to one side a good hour before bed at least.
And the next one is make sure you have the right sleep environment. Do try and block out as much light as possible. Loads of research said that the darker the room, the better. Ensure your bedroom is quiet, if possible, and cool in temperature, because, again, having our room, our body, and the room too warm is going to keep us awake. Our bodies do prefer to be cool for sleep. And also, if we can block out stimulus like the light and the sound, we'll have a better night's sleep. One of the things I would say here is, make sure your bedroom is a place where you sleep. And do other things, obviously. But having a TV, I've got a real thing. We actually have got a TV here, but we're renting here. Well, I've got a bit of a thing about having TVs in the bedroom. Again, that's go and have that separate place where the bedroom is somewhere to calm down, to relax, to prepare for sleep. Light a candle, make the room dimmer as you go into it. Just do all those things. It really separates your kind of like worky life place to your bedroom, so that actually when you go in there, you're sending a signal to yourself that this is a time to relax and come down into a sleep place.
Yeah, you love your earplugs, don't you?
Yeah, well, I've had to in London. I'm I'm not a deep sleeper at all, and I've really struggled my whole life with being woken up by sound. You know, I think also that's because my darling parents were really, really quiet. Apparently, they were really, really. Again, lots of people say that this really impacts how you sleep when you're an adult. You know, if your parents or your caregivers were really quiet around the house because they wanted to keep you asleep as a child and as a teenager or whatever, that's really amazing. But then as obviously you move into different environments and it's a bit noisier, it's really, really going to impact you quite badly. I mean, I know that for me, as soon as I hear any noise, I'm bang awake. What are you looking at?
Like me, Claire, I sleep deep sleep, but with one eye and one ear open, ready.
He doesn't. He couldn't wait. No, I wouldn't say you're a really deep sleeper. Actually, you're moderate. Moderate.
Next one is have a cold shower or a warm bath before bed.
Yeah,
now, why
weird.
that? Because you want your body temperature down. Cold shower will obviously bring your body temperature down. But if that's not feeling too pleasant, a warm bath, because when you get out, your body will attempt to cool itself by sweating heavily, which will then bring your body temperature down, and your body prefers this lower temperature to sleep.
Also, avoid caffeine in the afternoon. So it's one of the things. I've knocked caffeine on the head completely now. I had
no more evening Red Bulls for you.
No, God, can you remember that? When I was at university, I was like, why can't I sleep, Claire? Because you've had 4 Red Bulls and what was it? Vodka, Red Bull and vodka. Oh, awful. God, what I was doing to my body. But avoid caffeine in the afternoon. I would just advise to really, really look at your caffeine intake and also look at other products that have got caffeine in them, right? Because actually, even if you're taking aspirin or paracetamol or anything like that, if you're taking even flu tablets, if you've got a cold, make sure that they haven't got caffeine in, because some of them do. So if you're taking some of those, if you're not feeling a bit groggy and not feeling very well, I've made this mistake before, and you've taken some tablets before you go to bed, I'm wired. Absolutely. Or had tiramisu. You're going to tell the story about tiramisu?
Yes, so we did over Christmas. We had tiramisu. We never normally eat it. We had some tiramisu, and I caught Claire eating it just before bedtime, spooning it out the fridge.
So actually, not doing any of the things that we just told you to do. It was a one-off.
And then, of course, I was out there, getting the nudge, waking me up, going, "Oh, I can't sleep. I can't sleep." I'm like, well, you have just eaten like caffeinated, high sugar, high cream tiramisu.
Does it have alcohol in it as well?
Yes, it has alcohol in it as well.
Well, there we are. So all the things I'd given up, I basically decided to have all in one go: caffeine, alcohol,
dairy,
and dairy. I don't have dairy and sugar. There we are. Brilliant.
Genius.
Wondered why I was wise. I had palpitations, heart palpitations all night.
Tiramisu in Italian literally means pick me up.
Well, there we are.
There we go.
I don't know what I was thinking. And I've kind of done number 10 for you. I'm so sorry.
Oh, yes.
Declutter
your sleeping space. Like, your bedroom should be a haven of tranquility for a good night's sleep. Like I said, it's not great to have loads of devices and stimulus in there. You want it to be your sleeping space.
I have actually got an extra one for you, which we have touched on.
Blimey.
But so this will kind of, because I completely...
Keep it clean, Claire.
I'll keep it clean. Because I kind of went over that, didn't I? Declutter your sleeping space. I would say just be really, really careful on the alcohol. So I know we've touched on eating certain things before bed and sugar and all that sort of stuff. But like Jane's alluded to, alcohol really, really disrupts your sleep, like big time. It's why I decided to really reduce my alcohol consumption, give it up, and then it'll relax you. That's the funny thing, isn't it? We tell ourselves it's a relaxing thing when we're stressed and all that sort of stuff, but actually what's going to happen is it's going to impair your sleep. You wake up, a lot of people wake up in the middle of the night. They fall off to sleep easily because obviously they're intoxicated. They'll wake up in like 3 or 4 in the morning with anxiety, their heart pounding. A lot of menopausal women find this as well, only to create a lack of sleep. So then your cortisol is raised, your insulin response is all over the place, and there you are, you're on this horrible merry-go-round again that's really bad for your body, mind and soul. So it's going to make you eat more, it's going to make you feel groggy, it's going to make you feel low mood. All these things compound to just making 100% contributing to your weight gain, 100%. So yeah, that's an extra one about alcohol.
Brilliant.
There we are.
So that is sleep. I hope you enjoyed that. We'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
Did you have a nap? This is one of the things we'd love to know. Did you have a nap?
In lockdown, when you were meant to be working, did you have a sneaky nap?
And are you missing them now if you're back in the office? You can't go off.
Do you lock yourself in the toilet cubicle and have a quick sleep?
Disgusting.
Some people do.
Only men would do that. Sorry, that's very sexist, but I imagine only men would do that. Let me know. Actually, am I completely way off? Are there women napping in the toilets at work at the moment? I don't know. Anyway, we really hope you enjoyed that. Let us know your thoughts. And until next time, next week, we're sending lots of love.
Lots of love.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Midlife Mentors with Claire and James Davis.
We'd love to hear from you. So drop us a line at info@themidlifementors.com with any questions or topic suggestions.
And make sure you join us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can find us under the Midlife Mentors.
Yeah.